Hey guys, so today's video is going to be a foundation review on the new, well, fairly new I would say, Covergirl Outlast Stay Luminous Natural Glow Foundation. I have mine in 842 medium beige. I have no makeup on my skin currently. I just have my eyebrows filled in because they take forever. And I'm going to be applying this foundation now with the Real Techniques sculpting brush. Usually I use beauty blenders most of the time. Not so much on camera, I've noticed, but off camera I always use a beauty blender. But for foundations that tend to be glowy or tend to be more luminous, I like using a brush to get as much coverage as I can, because usually when a foundation is dewy it has like a little bit less coverage than like a matte foundation. And beauty blenders tend to make foundations look even more dewy. So I want to see like its true dewiness on my skin without a beauty blender. I'm gonna apply some primer before I put on this foundation. I have used this foundation once or twice before this point. I just want you to see how it applies, how it looks on my skin, and all that stuff. So I'm gonna prime my face first. I always prime my face no matter what foundation I use. So just like the smart thing, I guess, would be to prime regardless. So I'm using the Makeup Forever Step 1 Skin Equalizer in Smoothing. The smoothing one. Okay, why was that so hard to get out? Just gonna rub that on my fingers and press that here and here. I love that this foundation has a pump. It's probably my favorite thing about it. So I'm just gonna pump it on the back of my hand. I'm gonna do one pump for now. If I have to add more, I will. And just dab it in and start applying it. I like to apply this foundation by pressing it into my skin. I don't really like to rub so much. I feel like I get more coverage by pressing. It's currently that time of the month, so I got 3 little friends right here. Snap, crackle, and pop, who are on my face. So we shall see how it covers it. And I'm adding the second pump. I usually do 2 pumps with a lot of foundations. So maybe you need a pump and a half. I don't really think you need 2 full pumps. Well, I mean, depending on what you want to cover, so. I have applied 2 layers of this foundation. Like, sometimes I get like rashes here if something breaks me out, and I'll get like a red rash. And I find that it doesn't get cakey. So it is buildable, coverage. But the coverage, I don't know if you can tell, is pretty good. It's pretty good. And then after I press everything in, I go in and buff it. Just to smooth it out. Okay, so this is the foundation on my face. And you can tell it's luminous. It's very, very dewy. It's a very dewy foundation, and it even feels dewy on my face. I'm gonna give it a couple of seconds to maybe, or a couple of minutes to maybe set in place. Okay, so I brought you in closer so you can kind of see. It's been on my face for like about a minute now, and it is very, very glowy, very dewy. It did not, let me zoom you in a little more. It did not cling on to dry areas around my nose or right here. These 2 areas is where I get the driest. My T-zone is actually the driest part of my face. And usually if a foundation is too cakey or heavy, it like flakes really ugly right here and right here. So it does not cling on to any dry patches because obviously it's a very dewy foundation. So this is what it looks like up close. As you can see, it's not like 100% full coverage because you can still see my red birthmark in between my eyebrows that I have. And it's a little bit of redness peeking through on my pimple there. But it gives a nice, just like medium coverage. It evens out the skin tone and makes it look healthy. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my face, and then I will give you like my full review on the product. Okay, so I put on like very minimal makeup, just a little bit of eyeshadow, and I actually just used a little bit of bronzer. I didn't highlight my face just because I want you to see the I didn't even put on some lip. I just want you to see the foundation while it's sitting on my skin while I talk about it. So like I said earlier, I actually really love this. There are a couple things about it that I don't like, which I'll talk about, but for the most part, I think it's great for dry skin. I have dry skin and it's really good. I have very dry skin and I like it. I will say that even when it sets, you still feel it on your face. Like, it's tacky. You touch it and it feels dewy. So I would highly recommend setting this foundation with a powder. Even if you do have dry skin, use like very little powder just to set down that tackiness, and so it could feel like powder on your face. And I mean, you don't feel it tacky at all. Why am I making those faces? I don't know. You don't feel it tacky at all, but if you were to touch your face, you would feel it. I know that's not a big deal for some people because some people don't touch their face, but it's a big deal for others. So I just wanted to point that out. I kind of saw that coming because it's a luminous foundation. It wasn't like a liquid to powder. Another thing I do not like is that it does settle into my pores. I have to use a smoothing primer or a pore filling primer with this product because it will settle just slightly into my pores. Nothing too crazy, honest, just I noticed that and I want to tell you guys that. If you have very, very, very large pores, I'm not exactly sure if you would like this. Well, maybe using something like Benefit Professional will help you. Another thing I noticed is that it doesn't last like the full day. At least not on me. It won't. I have a question to ask you guys really quickly. Would you guys prefer next time I do a foundation review, like next time there's a new foundation on the market and I pick it up to review it for you guys, would you want me to do a first impressions to where I wear it throughout the day and I show you what it looks like at the end of the day? Or do you prefer reviews? I personally don't like to film first impressions because my opinion changes like instantly, and that's why I like to try a foundation like 2 times before I do a review. Like I've worn this 2 times before this time just so I can like gather my true thoughts and then tell you guys about it, because sometimes I change my mind on first impressions. But anyway, just let me know in the comments. Anyway, so this doesn't last as long as Revlon Color Stay on me, as long as my Makeup Forever face and body. It doesn't last that long, but I get about 6 hours of this where it still looks really good. So you know, I guess it depends. I have really dry skin and foundations don't break up on my skin unless they're matte foundations, so it just depends on your skin. If you have really oily skin, I don't think you would like this. I don't have a shimmery bronzer on. I have a very matte bronzer. Actually, this is a face powder but a dark one. Powdered underneath my eyes with like a matte powder and everything, and you could still see that my face looks nice and dewy and luminous. I didn't powder my face like I should have, just because I wanted you guys to see how it looked without powdering. If you have normal to combo skin, I still think you would really like this. Just remember to powder your face, and I still think that that luminosity will shine through a little bit. But like I said, it's a very dewy foundation, and I don't know if you would love it if you had oily skin. I love the packaging. I love the pump. I mean, it's not like so beautiful, but I like that it has a pump, and that's the best thing a drugstore foundation can do for me. I got mine at CVS, so it's a little bit more expensive at CVS as opposed to Target or Walmart, so I would get it in those places. Also, I did have the original Covergirl Outlast Stay Fabulous foundation. It's the one that looks just like this, but with the blue pump that everybody raves about. It's like everyone's favorite. I had it and I liked it for a little bit, but then when the winter came, I had to give it away because my skin was just too dry for it. So maybe if you have combination skin and you have that foundation, it would be nice to mix it with this one. It seems like the formulas would be good for mixing. I don't know, since I don't have that one anymore. But if you have oily skin, I recommend the one with the blue pump. So yeah, I give this a thumbs up for my skin type, and I don't find that it oxidizes on me. I find that it stays the exact same color. Oh, another thing I did notice that I didn't like is it kind of gets in my little laugh lines. Like if I'm laughing, it'll kind of set in the little lines. So just make sure that you apply your primer, like your smoothing primer, on those lines as well. So yeah, that completes this video. I hope you guys enjoyed my thoughts, or enjoyed this video on my thoughts on this foundation. I never do foundation reviews. Have you guys noticed? I feel like I'm a fool and I can't really like review foundations. I don't know why. I like suck at it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.